Unfortunately, it was more of the same this weekend for the Cubs and Philly. We talk about it next.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Alongside Sam Olber, I'm Matt Cozy. Please support the show and be a part of our great Locked On Cubs community by following on your preferred audio platform. And you can watch, subscribe, and leave a comment on YouTube. Thanks so much for making us your first listen. Sam and I are lifelong fans, taking our passion into a discussion with you on all things Cubs. And thank you whenever and wherever you may be listening to this Monday episode as the Cubs lose the series to the Phillies and finish 2-7 on the road trip. The Northsiders won big on Friday, lost big on Saturday, and lost close on Sunday. This team can't get on any type of a roll even after a decisive victory like Friday. They just can't do it. And on top of that, one of the games is over after the first inning. And the other game is deja vu all over again as the Cubs struggle for offense against an inferior starting pitcher. The bullpen makes poor pitch decisions, and it's another close loss on Sunday. Sam, how's it going?
First of all, I'd like to tell you that your hair looks great.
Thank you.
If you look closely at me, I got a temporary crown in right here from Friday's dental festivities. And that was actually more pleasant than Saturday and Sunday in the city of brotherly love. Look, I'll preface what I'm going to say by saying this. Hope everybody's listening. It is, and I'll speak for you on this, so correct me if I'm wrong. We wish this was better. We would love to be positive. You guys have no idea how much we want this team to win. I know on Twitter my shtick is kind of the whole complain about everything thing, but that's just who I am. Deep down, I want to be excited about this team so bad. On Friday night, Matt was calling me. I called him. We were talking, joking around, discussing, 2 out of 3. Maybe we get the brooms. I mean, we were totally going. Now, I was a little less excited because blowout wins do nothing for me anymore. You can't blow your way out to a division. At some point, you have to win a game that might be hard to win. This team's a front-running group. But we really want to be positive. We don't want to continue to spread bad news and have you guys turn it on. But we also have a show to do, and we have to be honest and transparent. We're not going to open the show and talk about how great Morel is when the team's lost 16 of 22 games, and over the last 30 days they've been the worst team in the National League by a wide margin. Right. We're not going to do that. We have to call it like we see it. So I apologize. I wish that we had better news to bring, and maybe that better news will come soon. As far as the weekend goes, like you said, shout out to Yogi Berra. Deja vu all over again. Saturday's game bothered me more than a normal blowout would bother me because I've defended Jameson Taillon on this platform, and he's making me look foolish. $60+ million. I understand he'll get it going, but as I always say, it's not a 162 game season when you're surviving for your life in the middle of May. It's a 162 game season when you're up. If the Cubs were 7-8 games up right now, sure, then we got to get through all 162. We're just begging for relevancy here. We're 1-3-6 homestand away from me saying this is over. So, Jameson Taillon being this bad and coming out on Saturday and just killing the whole momentum, like you said on Friday, is bothersome. And then today, Sunday is just more of the same, man. You get dominated by a pitcher who's struggling. First and second, one out in the sixth. This is one of the reasons why I wanted Nico in the middle of the order to start the year, even though I was proven wrong. You have 2 hitters with the exact same profile hitting back-to-back, Happ and Suzuki. There's no conviction. There's no aggression. Both guys taking pitches, especially Suzuki, right down the middle against Dominguez, who has a really good put-away pitch. You get yourself in a hole. You strike out. You don't deliver. The minute we go to the bullpen, Alzolay gives it up. wasn't even a bad, like he pitched badly. It was just bad decision making by everybody. Bryson Stott is a good high ball hitter. He's a good bat to ball guy. Why challenge him when you're ahead in the count with a base open at first base and the winning run at second? Nibble a little bit, see if he'll get himself out. More of the same. They've done that all year. They've done that the last 3 years with this Ross-Hottovy combination. I've always, with 2 strikes, the Cubs are the only team in baseball that looks to jam you when there's a runner on third and 1 out. How about, why would you put the ball in play? Just get a strikeout if you can. 2 pickoffs today, waste another steal gem. It's just
they're doing that a lot, wasting gems.
Yeah, it's just the story of the whole year. They are now 3-15 in games decided by 2 runs or less. Jed Hoyer after last season, and shout out to my Twitter followers who are great today. Somebody quoted quoted this, was like, last year he attributed the close losses to luck and just said the solution is stop playing close games and blow teams out. Well, the Cubs are blowing teams out. They are blowing teams out at one of the highest rates in baseball. They just lose every single close game. At some point, I understand there's a luck element to it because of the Marlins and other teams that are on the other side. Like, sure, should they be 3-15? But if you actually watch the game, it passes the eye test. There's no high leverage pitching. And I've never seen a relief unit that anytime the game is up for grabs, they just blow it immediately. It's not even, it's almost laughable.
Yeah, and you just can't do it.
And we'll talk about some other stuff. I think Ross managed to find game on Sunday. He's out of options with the bullpen. I don't know, Matt, if you caught my Twitter video today. I'm starting to look. I
just watched it. Yeah.
Yeah, it might be time to speak. Might be time on Monday to come out and speak.
Not might. It is. And we'll have an episode for him on Tuesday.
Yeah. And to start addressing some things, because this isn't a cold stretch. This is we might not be very good stretch. And like I told you on the phone, this homestand, we have 9 games. This will be the last homestand for me to really evaluate. And if we have a bad homestand, I don't know what the numbers is because it depends how it goes.
But zoom in on it this week.
Yeah, we'll zoom in on this homestand. But if it continues to go like this, I will be removing myself spiritually from playoffs, and I will start locking in on the minor leagues and basically turn this into a comedy affair.
Well, I thank you for the update, and all our listeners appreciate that, and the viewers. And I think that's fair to say as we dig in and preview the homestand for Tuesday's episode and do some digging on Jed Hoyer and where he's been. Is he on Clark and Addison? Is he perhaps in another state or something like that? I'm not really sure. But we want to hear from him as fans. I'm comfortable saying that for sure. Especially given some of the roster decisions that he's made recently, that we'll get to in a few minutes. But it wasn't a harrowing weekend. It wasn't as disastrous as I thought it would be, and I think Friday's win helps with that. But how can you have 3 pitchers that are starting as well as they are and have a core group that is good as they are and be 6 games under
margins?
And Tyone's ERA is hellish.
Yeah.
I know there's kids listening, but it's hellish, dude.
No.
His ERA is over 8.
Yeah.
I won't be surprised if you see Hendricks start Thursday and have them swap IL for IL. Tyone's got to get right. I mean, he's like a city league pitcher.
Edwin Jackson.
Maybe so. I saw a picture of Tyler Chatwood this weekend as well, side by side with Tyone.
Yeah, but Chatwood was 3 for 38. This is 4 for 65.
Right. And I was reviewing our episode when Tyone got signed. We were actually a little questionable on the money. We said, well, this is the price to pay right now in the market, but we said it was diet soda-ish, and I guess we were right. And
no, this isn't diet soda. This is sewer water.
Oh, boy. Okay.
I mean, well, what do you mean, oh, boy? Is it 8? What do you mean, oh, boy? His ERA is 8.10. I can go out there and throw the rosin up there.
Well, I'm just reacting in the moment. And, and
diet soda. Diet kind.
Right. And he's apparently you've been drinking a lot of it if you're getting a crown. But listen, Not a good weekend in Philly, and I go to this 5+ runs thing. I mean, it's similar in a way to what's the record with 2 runs or less? Decided by 2 runs or less?
Yeah, 3-15.
Okay, 3-15. So,
That's almost impossible.
and when scoring just in total, just individually, 4 runs or less this year, the Cubs are now 7-22, and they're 13-4 when scoring 5+. So take that for what it's worth as well. Do you
Take
make
that in your
anything of
pipe and
that?
smoke. Not really.
Okay.
They can't win low scoring close games, which I thought they'd be good at. That's
They
all I take away
can't.
from that. Yeah.
And it's
So
46 games in.
so here's the debate right now, and I'd love to hear people's thoughts in the comments. And I'm going to read a couple of tweets from today. I think it's kind of nice because I get so much action on Twitter to give some people some love that I like
Yeah.
engaging with.
Let's pursue putting these up on the screen in the
Yeah,
future.
yeah, absolutely. The debate is this Cubs team underachieving? Do they have a good core group, and because of what we've talked about ad nauseum on the show, they are underachieving and they should be better than this, or are they bad and it's catching up to them? That's the debate. And I want to read a couple of tweets. One of them is from Garrett. I don't think I want to say his last name. That feels
Yeah, Garrett
unnecessary.
S., I believe.
Yeah, Garrett S. Time to face it. This team isn't as good as the numbers said they were, and this team cannot win on the margins. Parentheses, no clutch, no manager, no bullpen. They'll finish May horridly. I'm going to skip a little bit of it. And Ross will figure out how to manage this team properly in July. It'll be far too late. They'll be 80-82. That's about how I kind of feel. And I thought this tweet was really interesting from Michael K., not the Yankees
announcer.
play-by-play. Yeah.
Yeah, see ya.
Jed has been cleaning up Theo's mess for years. To have to put together this talented of a roster and as talented of a farm system in only 3 seasons is impressive. He's not absolved of blame if they don't turn it around at some point, but this team's more talented than they're playing. I think that's really well said, and we'll get into the Jed stuff specifically tomorrow. But Jed's a lot more complicated for me than Ross because I think Jed has done some good, and I think to have this roster, I think it's a great tweet. I think to have this roster, you have 4 guys on your team. No, I mean, I'll count Steele. You have 5 guys on your team right now that, knock on wood, health-wise, are going to be on your team for the next 3 to 4 years, right? And that's Nico Horner, Dansby Swanson, Ian Happ, Seiya Suzuki, and Justin Steele. Now, the Suzuki thing might be a little bit more contract-based. I don't know if he's performed well enough to earn that right yet, but he still will be there. And that core, that 5, I don't like to use the word core, but to be in, it's not even year 3, right? It's year. They had the half year. This is year 2.5 of the rebuild, right? Because it was the second half of 21, all of 22, and now 23.
Yeah, you're right.
So to have this roster that I think is a better roster than the Marlins, a better roster than the Giants, right? Because a lot of the counterpoint to what I'm saying is a lot of people on Twitter today were like, Sam, this is just who they are. They're a 4A team. That's just not true. They have some 4A.
I disagree with that.
Yeah, they have some 4A guys, but there are some good players on this team. This team is struggling because they are losing on the margins. And our job, and more importantly, Mr. Hoyer's job, is to figure out why that is. 3-15, it's more than just bad luck. There's something fundamentally wrong. Now, of course, the obvious answer is clutch hitting and poor bullpen. And their bullpen is
totally.
It's not poor. It's been a disaster. But there are also some decision-making things you have to just take a look at, and that's what it is. I think that's the fundamental thing. I think that's the purpose of this show. I think that's the purpose of the rest of this year, is figuring out, is this a good team that is underachieving, or is this a team that was overachieving early and they're not that bad? Is it somewhere in the middle? And why are they the worst team in the major leagues in high leverage situations on both sides of the ball?
And it's by far they're the least clutch team in the sport, and I think right now they are underachieving.
Yep.
But in 9 games, we're going to agree to use your 9-game focus now.
Yep.
So that actually gives us a little past the Memorial Day point, as we know, as a
checkpoint.
Possible first checkpoint.
Yep.
From that, possibly we do pivot the narrative from underachieving to this is a bad club.
Yep, absolutely.
And so I say we determine that in the 9 games. Right now, for me, it is underachievement. Yep. It is losing big time on the margins. it is a lack of clutch performance. But perhaps in 9 games,
Yeah.
we can declare this to be a bad team.
Yep, I agree. And the last thing I'll say before we move on
eBay Motors.
is I don't if this team, let's say in late July, is out of it and they start turning around like last year, even if they stack up a bunch of one-run wins and have clutch performances, that's not clutch to me. When you know if you
No.
lose, it doesn't matter. The season is over already.
Yeah.
That doesn't count. So like
No, it's irrelevant.
last year's great run, sure, you want to watch the players develop. That's part of their development. But in terms of evaluating Ross as a manager and evaluating this team as a whole, when it is, we all know this in life. It's not just sports. When you have nothing to lose anymore and there's no consequences, it becomes a lot easier to perform. So when you're 45-62 and you rattle off 9 of 12 and 8 of those 9 are high leverage, it's still not high leverage. High leverage is everything's on the line, right? You have a chance to compete. So I hope that makes sense to people.
It does.
All games are not created equally in 162 is the point I'm trying to make.
Absolutely. And perhaps not all roster moves are created equally. And the Cubs made some weird ones on Friday.
I'm going to take a breather.
Talk about those coming up next. For a championship team, it's all about making sure every player is a perfect fit. It's the same when it comes to your vehicle. Every part needs to fit just right. So the next time you need parts and accessories, head to eBay Motors. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, you can be sure every part you need fits right the first time around. Just add your ride to My Garage and look for the green check to know the part will fit or your money back. Because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game when you shop on eBay Motors. And with over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. After all, it's easy to bring home a win when the right parts are guaranteed. Get the right parts, the right fits, and the right prices on ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. eBay Motors, guaranteed fit, only available to U.S. customers, eligible items only. Exclusions apply. The Cubs play the Mets at 6:40 p.m. Central Tuesday, and you can listen to every pitch with the Cubs hometown broadcast on SiriusXM. On the SXM app, search Cubs or tune into channel 844 and catch the Cubs all season long on SiriusXM. Before Friday's action, Nico Horner was activated from the IL. Cody Bellinger hit the IL. Keegan Thompson sent down to AAA. Edwin Rios and Mike Tauchman called up from AAA. And Eric Hosmer was designated for assignment. I definitely was thrown off by these moves. Did not have Rios or Tauchman on the board. The other 3 I did. Just wondering why not another relief pitcher since they sent Keegan Thompson down. What value do Rios and Tauchman really have, especially because Rios was already on the club and you barely used him?
Yeah.
So just a little bit befuddling on Friday.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't. I think Assad's going to come up. So
this
when
week
he could come up, I think it's as soon as whenever it is. I think it might be Tuesday. And then when he comes up, I don't know if they're full right now or are they just playing a guy short. If they're full, then Rios will probably go down. If they're playing a guy short, then Assad will come in. Do you know that answer?
Well, no, there's 26 players on the team.
Yeah, so when Assad
someone
comes
would
up,
have to go out.
Yeah, then one of those position players will probably go down.
Right, and I know Rios has options. I'm not sure Tauchman does, but
Tauchman. Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know if he has options or not, honestly, but I know his promotion. I think he is probably the one who would probably go.
Rios or Tauchman?
Well, I guess either, but in terms of Tauchman, the promotion, I don't think he's going to be here long either way, either for an Assad promotion or Bellinger activation, just because, I don't think there's much consequence of sending him down or DFAing him. If you want to bring up, say, a Cam Sanders or a reliever who's not on the 40-man.
Right.
Right. And also, by the way, Bellinger to the IL is retroactive to May 16th. So he's eligible to return May 26th, which is already this Friday, which I think is in play.
My guess, Tauchman will be on the team at least until Bellinger comes back because
until Friday, right?
He's a better center fielder than Morel defensively.
Right.
And he put up some fine at bats. And I think, they're gonna face mostly righties this week. I'm not sure. I know Senga's the first day. So yeah, I mean he's fine.
Yeah, Senga, McGill, and Carrasco.
Yeah, so all righties. So he'll probably play maybe in all three of those games.
What did you think about Keegan Thompson to Iowa?
I thought it was coming, and I said I thought Hosmer to DFA and Keegan Iowa was coming. The only thing that bothered me is if you're one bad outing away from going to Iowa, should you be getting that save spot 6-3 going into the ninth, right? But again, it's picking at straws because the other option would have been like Estrada, right? I mean, or go to that route. He was trying to get Thompson right, and it didn't work. So, I mean, when you look, we should do a bullpen hierarchy. Like when you look at it right now.
Well, we've done it once before.
No, I'm just saying, but like it's so different now.
Oh, it's different.
It's Alzolay and Leiter are still your top two guys, but they're starting to show signs,
right?
Negatively. And then it's probably Estrada, Merriweather, Rucker.
Yeah.
Right? And Hughes is in there. Hughes somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, he's a specialist.
He's trying to get used to his brace on his knee.
Yeah, lefties only.
Where's Birdie in that mix?
I don't think very high right now.
Right.
Fulmer came in on Saturday.
Oh, is he still on the club?
And he gave up another run. I'd like to check on his ERA.
Well, he had 5 or 6 appearances that went well in a row prior to last week.
No, he didn't.
And now he's just torpedoed.
No, he didn't, dude. That's the thing.
I thought he did. I thought he had about 5 in a row that were fine.
No, first of all, he's been worth almost negative. He's been worth almost -1 WAR this year.
Why'd I have to go to his game log,
dude?
I'm
gonna go to his game log right now. He hasn't had 5 consecutive good appearances, bro. All right. Let me tell you.
Well, he might be not long for this team then.
No, I don't know what his thing is, but it's so deceiving. Okay, I'll read you his game logs. So
he pitched the other day.
So late he went he gave up a run against the Cardinals. Then he had consecutive outings, 1 1/3 total in 2 outings of shutout ball. And then his last 3 appearances, 3 earned and 2/3, 2 earned and 2/3, 1 earned and 1. He had a stretch in late April where he had 1, 2, 3, 4 outings in a row that were fine.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Maybe that's what you're thinking of. Yeah, 4 or 5. Yeah,
after the Dodgers.
After back-to-back outings against the Dodgers, where he went 1 1/3 and allowed 6 earned.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so he hasn't gotten right.
No, I mean, I guess technically if you're referring to the late April stretch, he had a decent stretch from late April to early May.
Yeah, well, that was a month ago.
Yeah, it's not exactly like a long stretch.
Yeah, no, I understand.
This is like a reliever.
Yeah. Well, if I want a long stretch, I'll start yoga or something. So, all right. Well, we're pretty much going to get moving along here.
Listen, it's not just him. I mean, Boxberger's hurt, and the nurse and doc don't even know why he's in the training room.
Right. Well, because he's bad.
Yeah, he's not pitching well is probably the answer.
We give a shout out to Christopher Morel, who continues to mash, coming up next. Today's episode is brought to you by So Rare, a revolutionary fantasy baseball game and marketplace, transforming fans into owners with officially licensed digital cards featuring players from across all 30 MLB teams. Unlike other fantasy baseball platforms, So Rare managers truly own their fantasy experience, collecting, buying, selling, and competing with player cards against opponents from around the world to win epic rewards. Win or lose, you still own your cards, and there's no cost to play. Head to sorare.com/lockedon. That's spelled SORARE.com to draft your team of free player cards, set your lineup, and start competing today to win epic rewards. Again, that's sorare.com/lockedon to start playing today. Christopher Morel, 8 home runs in his first 11 games since being promoted. Only Cubs player in franchise history to have that many long balls in the first 11 games of a season. He certainly has put up some impressive swings, Sam. And, it's just a shame that they're 3-8 since he's been promoted.
Yeah, I mean, you have to respect what he's doing. He's so toolsy, right? Like, this is who he is. I mean, it'll calm down. Like, these extreme results will calm down. But, he looks so overmatched half of his at-bats. And then the other half, he kills the ball. It's very weird. But he's definitely been a jolt to their team. I think he's a fascinating guy to evaluate. I mean, he plays multiple he plays multiple positions. You're not sure if he plays any of them well. If you look at half of his at-bats, you think he belongs in AAA. The other half, you think he's Barry Bonds. It's very interesting, but he's a positive. He's a fun guy to watch. He's shown up. He's done his job. He's since he's been up, he's been the best hitter in the major leags. I mean, outside of maybe Aaron Judge, I think, has been hotter, but I mean, he has 8 homers since he got called up. And how many did he hit in the minors? 11?
Yes.
So he has 19 home runs in the professional season, and it's, in
about 50 games.
Yeah, in about 50 games. So it's crazy, man. And he's one of those guys that I kind of just let be, because it's like, I don't know how to evaluate a guy like this. Like, when he hit that homer in the 9th inning off Kimbrel, it's like, one, you're just angry because it's like, oh, we're going to lose by 1. But then the other part of it's like, that's Craig Kimbrel on a lone away fastball that he just easily hits out to right. Like, it was like,
he just tanked it.
Yeah, like a softball pitch.
Right. Like, it's a slow pitch game on a Tuesday night.
Yeah, it's really a shame. The fact that they're 3-8 since he's been up just shows you how egregiously underachieving. And that's the other thing. Like, people keep saying that this, like, to the people out there that say, well, this team stinks. They're 3-8 in their last 11 games. And in the last 11 games, they have one of the best players in the major leagues on their team.
Right.
Like,
what does that mean?
Yeah. It's just,
but they have a bad roster.
Yeah. You can't tell me that this team stinks.
No way.
You can't tell me that you would look. Can I? You know what? Let's do a little experiment. I'm going to do a little experiment today, just real quick before we end the show, if you don't mind. I'm gonna do a little experiment here. Right. I'm gonna read you the Milwaukee Brewers lineup today.
And shout out to the everydayers, by the way, except for the dude that told me I had a fake laugh on Friday.
All right, man. I'm gonna read you a little lineup today, okay? And I'm going to read you their numbers, okay?
Oh, boy. What?
Owen Miller leading off for the Brewers.
Who?
In limited time. He's batting .344.
I don't even know who that is.
William Contreras hitting .252. Christian Yelich, .258. Willie Adames, .212. Darren Ruff, .257. Rowdy Tellez, .246. Brian Anderson, .240. Joey Weimer at .201. And Bryce Terang at .246. I'm going to swing it over to the Chicago National League Ball Club now. Nico Horner, $299. Dansby Swanson, $267. Seiya Suzuki, he's a Japanese imported player, for $285. Tauchman just got up. Morel, best hitter in the world right now. Mervis just got up. Mastro hasn't been up a lot. So my point is, and obviously batting average is just one metric. It's nothing to do with it's all situations.
Situational play.
It's all decision making.
Don't get picked off twice.
And Justin Steele's been better than any Milwaukee Brewer pitcher by a mile.
Oh, it's not close, dude.
So I'm just saying, this idea that they have a terrible roster is really just hindsight speak. It's lazy. It's not the right thing to say. Now, they may be a bad team. I'm not saying that. I agree with you. We'll talk back at 9, but it's not because they don't have the players to be successful, okay? The Miami Marlins and the San Francisco Giants have better records than you. I don't know many guys on either of those teams that even get into the Cubs besides like Soler.
Be sure to hit that subscribe button for Locked On Cubs on YouTube and smash the like button for the algorithm, especially as we start off this week strong. Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast on the audio side. Certainly going to be an interesting homestand.
We're going to try and be positive.
Try to find Jed Hoyer for Tuesday's show. He's Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. This is Locked On Cubs.